Welcome to the Godmother podcast. I am the Godmother, and I am so thankful that you've joined us here today. If you are new, I am the Godmother, and what does that mean? I am here to nourish your mind, body, and soul. With so much negativity going on in our society and world, I choose to do the opposite and bring more positivity. So I bring conversation, communication, dialogue, information, knowledge stemmed around individuality, family, home, education, occupation, and community. I come to nourish the mind, body, and soul by inspiration, motivation, encouragement, uplifting, and I want to be a space where you could come where you could feel comfortable, safe, at peace, and in harmony, but at the same time get a message where you know that it is meant for your own well being and your own good. If you are new, thank you. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. It will be greatly appreciated. If you are returning, thank you so much. I so value your support. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe if you have not. Now, my thing is this is that not too many people know about me or know what it is, so it might not be for you. That's fine. If it is, great, keep it. If you know somebody that can use this message, pass it on. Let me start by saying I am not a doctor. I am not a social worker. I am not a therapist. I am not a psychiatrist. I am an individual who has so many testimonies and experiences that I went through that I choose to share with someone out there that can use that to be their motivator, their inspiration, their reason to say, I'm not going to throw the towel in and give up. If you are seeking medical or professional aid and support, I tell you, reach out to the resources in your community, in your area. You could even email me, and I have a list of resources in the Chicagoland area that I could actually send to you. But I am here to give you testimonies and experiences and stories and information and knowledge based off of my experiences and research. Now, what you do with this information is solely yours. But at the end of the day, I know that this message that I give can reach someone because when I receive messages like such, it helped me. I have teachers that teach me and share knowledge and information with me, and in turn, I turn around and give that back to the people as well. With that being said, I am sipping on my tea. And we're going to share some. So, like I said earlier, you know what I mean? I do share conversation, communication, dialogue, content about individuality, family and home, occupation, education, community, where I inspire to uplift, encourage, and motivate in the society. In addition to my Godmother podcast, I am an artist, I am an author, I am an event planner, and a motivational speaker. You can access my website as well as the information on my publications that are on Amazon in my bio. If you have any problem accessing any of the links, please email me. I will return your email. Put in the search in the subject line. Link request, information needed, blah blah blah. I will return your email. I reply to my email. Um, but yes, you can access that information in my bio. I encourage you to check out my website to view my artistry. Also, you can look at me on Pinterest and see some of my art productions on my art creations on Pinterest. And then my publications I have available on Amazon, which is a fiction book, a self-help book, a Triple Moon Goddess 3-set journal, and 2 daily grace journals, as well as a family storybook. Please support your girl. I can send you the link, or you can go right to Amazon and get your copy. With that being said, we're going to get to today's topic. And it's surrounded around family and home. And I'm titling this Generational Wisdom. Now, I don't know how many of y'all still have y'all grandparents, your parents, your grandparents, or your great grandparents. When it comes to my parents, my grandparents, and my great grandparents, my mother is the only one who is still amongst us. And I'm so thankful. I'm thankful. And when I think about the fact that my maternal and paternal grandparents have transitioned, my maternal and paternal great grandparents have transitioned, I didn't get none of those stories. I don't know if you all understand the value that sits in the elders that sits amongst us now, but I really advise you all to connect and know that history that's sitting in that sacred vessel. Okay? I've always been close to my mother, but I connected with her mother more than I connected with my father's mother. Okay? I wish I had a relationship tightly with all of them. And it's because I wanted to know more about my lineage. And I didn't get a chance for that. And I feel it's important that we know about our lineage. I also feel that it's important that we have these relationships with the elders. You got to connect with them. The ones that become the ones that are stubborn and make it very, very much of a challenge in order to connect, I ask that the older family members help with that bridge and gap. Because to be honest, the elders can use the connect of the youth as well. So as I talk about the generational wisdom today, which is stemmed around the family and home, I came up with a question. And the question is, what is the best advice an elder gave you? What is the best piece of advice an elder gave you? And when I think about that question, 2 people come to mind. It is both my mother and my grandmother. My mother, as I said earlier, is still here. I see her basically every other day, if not every day. My grandmother, which is my mother's mother, she has transitioned. So I later found out after my grandmother transitioned about the history of her lineage after she passed. I wish I had asked certain questions prior to her passing, but the truth of the matter is that we didn't even have that type of relationship. I wish we did, but we didn't. Where I could feel comfortable enough to open up dialogue on that level. And I wish I did, because it wasn't like she never told me I could. It was just something in me that was not comfortable enough. So, nevertheless, the thing is this, is that I feel it's important. So when I think back to the best piece of advice that an elder gave me, I start, like I said, I think about my grandmother and my mother, but I'm going to start with my grandmother. I asked my grandmother one day, I said, Grandma, how did you and Granddaddy last 50 years being married? Her answer was, I learned to keep my mouth shut. I said, excuse me? She said, I learned to keep my mouth shut. I said, so let me hear you right. The reason you and your husband's marriage has lasted over 5 decades is because you chose to be quiet? She said, yes. I said, can you come better than that, Grandma? I said, because we talking about my generation. We don't know how to keep our mouth shut. And she said, that's the problem. Hmm. Now, at that time when she told me, I'm not focused on the point of this woman got 50 years in marriage. She know way more than me. I'm trying to debate and argue with her. When I definitely won't argue, but debate with her, be like, keep my mouth shut. But she was showing me a point because I needed to keep my mouth shut then, and just, which moves me on to my mama. So my mama had told me, I said, well, Mama, what do you think my problem is? She said, you don't listen. I said, what? Okay. Now, I'm going to back it up a little bit and give you a little bit insight on me. Of course, you know, because I have this podcast, I am the one that can be very vocal. I also had to get to a point where I know how to control being vocal and know when to speak and when not to speak and when to listen and be quiet. And I'm going to even get gutted in here. Learn to shut the fuck up. So, me being the baby, the smart one, the one everybody adored, I always said what I wanted to say no matter what. I didn't care if you didn't want to hear it. I was going to say it. So just imagine me going from a baby all the way up to a grown person, and I'm a grown adult. I ain't make woman yet, if you feel me. A grown adult. So I'm moving in this angle and not understanding. And mind you, at the time I asked my grandmother this, I was married with my first husband. And we were experiencing some things, but there was a lesson and message that she was teaching and conveying that I was not listening. Hello? And I thought about it. And I have a cousin. She gonna always bring this up. You hear me? I'm telling you. She like, remember they say you don't listen. It's annoying. But anyway, when my grandmother shared that with me, reside in paradise, Empress, I love you and I'll see you soon. I looked at her and received the message from a level where it's that I looked at her as a weak woman. How you not say nothing? I'm not mature yet. I'm not mature yet. I'm not understanding the message. And after a while, of course, with my maturity, with me going through many experiences, many challenges, many obstacles, and I realized that everything doesn't deserve a response or an answer. Sometimes just that one was a hard one for me. Now I'm so cold with it where I can stand right next to my enemy and I don't have to say anything. Now I'm not gonna sit next to an enemy who just wants to sit there and just belittle me and talk about. No, you know what I mean. we don't see eye to eye, but we could be cordial together. We don't have, I don't have to do that. If I'm in a place where I've been shown that I'm unwelcome, it's time for me to go. I don't have to give them all of this energy just because I'm going to show you got me fucked up. And this, they used to be me. And then I realized I'm giving more of my energy away, and it's affecting me more than it's affecting them. So I go back to my grandma. She say, I learned to be quiet and not say nothing. And I seen this woman do it, baby. I seen it. I'm talking about she could sit there and she could observe and she could look. It wasn't like she was just no punk, but at that time I looked at her as a weak woman because why won't you say nothing? Later on, I heard from a wise woman say everything that come up don't need to come out. I agree with that one too, 100%. But when it go back to the best piece of advice an elder gave me, know and learn when to be quiet. Everything doesn't require your response. We live in an age that's hard on a social media platform to just be able to listen and just take in, receive, retain, observe. It becomes hard for individuals to do that. And at that time, that was me. And my grandmother and my mother were conveying that message to me, and I wasn't listening. I was given so much preventative action, resources, advice prior to me getting pregnant with my children as a teenager. I didn't listen. I wanted to do it my way. That's fine, but it's still a time when you need to learn how to shut the fuck up and listen. Everything that comes up don't need to come out. There's a field day going on with the social media why people comment, post like they do when they shouldn't. But they obviously don't care about the reader's emotions or feelings, or you wouldn't have posted such negative words. I can only imagine my grandmother now. What would she say? Stay the fuck off of the social platform. My grandmother was not one of the ones that sit on the porch and gossip about everybody's business and talk about it. No. She worked 9 to 5. Her and her husband would sit on the porch on the weekends when they would be off and get some rest. But after that, they would go in and they would find either a good movie or get up under some air and watch. They love sports together. But the thing is, this is that I do feel that she suppressed much of her voice that she wanted to say for whatever reasons, and I didn't get that opportunity to really have those conversations with her. But it was some good advice. It was some of the best advice because as I got older, I realized some of the smartest individuals are the ones that listen and pay attention. Remember when we were in school and we would have these documentaries? I'm going to say they were documentaries. It was always that movie that your teacher would put on. You know you was going to watch this movie because that TV was in that classroom. And you knew when you went in there, you was going to see that movie, but you knew it was going to last about an hour. And you felt like, man, I'm just going to take me a dang on nap. Not knowing that the teacher going to give you a pop quiz. And because I'm so smart, I promise you that I knew how to do elimination and how to make common sense out of a question. But the thing is, this is that all I had to do was just listen and watch. Now I listen and watch documentaries all the time. Okay? But all I had to do was listen and pay attention. But I didn't want to. And a lot of them documentaries that we was being shown at school was some of the information that we needed to be paying attention to. And it was what they put in the curriculum past the time, but they knew we weren't going to pay attention no way. I didn't realize that this was an issue that I had until I started addressing myself and noticing, man, you need to do better. But my mother told me, and she said, you don't listen. I should have took it right then and there, but because I didn't listen as she was telling me this is how I am, that's why I didn't. And it was some of the best advice, because when I say I sit back and I listen and I pay attention to so much I learn, I've shared on many of the content videos that I've created and shared with y'all of the individuals that not only do I just follow, these are my teachers. I'm learning from them. I'm a student and I'm taking notes off of the information and knowledge that they share. And that way I in turn take those results that I've learned and share them with you all. But I have to say, the best piece of advice from the elder was to learn to be quiet and to shut up and listen. My grandmother's era come from where is it that there was a lot of men that were just providers and the wife just had to follow along with what the husband wanted to do. Did I feel that my grandmother fell in that era? I do. I also feel that I remember seeing portions of as she got older, she began to voice some of her opinion, but I feel like also she had become so exhausted with it that I don't think she wanted to put the fight in. Not saying that she chose to get, no, she didn't get abused. It was like, it got to the point, okay, this is how it is, even down to us, not just her husband, down to her child and her grandchildren. So it was like, she was like, I'm a broken record. Y'all not listening. You know what I'm saying? I'm sick of that. So I received that, but I do feel like she worked and she did. Let me rephrase that. My grandmother had a career. I also feel there might have been more she wanted to do. At the same token, she had the career, but the career was based to be able to have a financial stability for her and her family to add with her husband. And she did that. When she retired, she was able to retire her and her husband and live freely. But I think she might have wanted to do more. I just don't think she knew what that was. And then it might have got to a point where she got older and felt like she was too old to do something, but maybe didn't know how to talk about it. She knew how to be a mother and a grandmother and a wife, but to do anything else, I mean, at her job, yeah, because she was a bank teller. My grandmother was a bank teller for 30 years. So this is her career. But the same token, I think she wanted more, but just didn't know what that was. My mother, she did it all. And my grandmother supported her. So my mother did all of the business aspects. My mother did the school. She went to college. She got the degree. My mother was a nurse. She opened her own business. You know what I mean? She had all that. So not that my grandmother was living through her, but she was supporting her daughter. And then maybe it made her think like it was some things I probably could have did too. You know what I mean? But those two gave me that best advice. And it works so much now in my older age to where is it that, man, I, I catch myself so much. I look directly at somebody and I know they've been and said something wicked and I walk right off. I don't owe you nothing. I ain't got to give you nothing. And that's even me responding. I'm going to just keep moving. And that's just something that I feel like we all can take. Now, I don't know about y'all, but you heard my answer. Ask yourself that question. What is the best piece of advice that an elder gave you? Now, I got an activity for us to do. And an activity for us to do is I want you to call a family member and thank them for the lesson that they taught you. Now, I talk to my mother a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, I see her every other day, but I encourage you to do this. And I talked about my grandmother. I can look right here to my right and I see my grandmother's obituary. I have it in a frame and I look at her all the time. I don't necessarily have the advantage to call my grandmother, but I definitely pray and I talk to her. I definitely encourage you that if you have a family member, when I think about the family members that I have that are the elders, and I just thought about this as I created this content because I don't have a lot left that I have the relationship with where we could be able to talk. Where we're not. And I notice that's in a lot of families. When it comes to my mother's umbrella, it's just her. And I know that has to be hard. It's like once she transitioned, the matriarch passes to me or my sister. Like that's just how where my family is. And we don't think about these things until you're in that position. You're like, damn, this is real. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm talking to my mother more on conversations that when I think about the conversations that we have, and I'm like, man, I should have had these conversations with grandma. And I've even had my mother say, I thank you for doing it. And you know what I tell her? I thank you for answering. I thank you for participating because we need that. I don't know how many family members you all have that you can call and thank. We tend to think about them more after they've transitioned than actually putting the time in to spend with them while they're here. And you know what? I don't feel that it's just so personally that we just don't want to be around them. When you're living, you're just living. And you know that, okay, grandma and granddaddy, they over there, I'll get to them. But life just keep happening. And it happened to me. My paternal grandmother was in the hospital. And my aunt, my dad's sister, called me. And she was like, you need to get him. I'm like, okay. She's like, you really need to get here. I was like, okay, I'm going to try to come see. I'm going to try. She's like, don't try to get him. I'm like, okay. I never went. And she transitioned. That same auntie called me that day. And I answered and she was like, I'm sitting here. And she was like, and I told you to come because I knew she wasn't going to make it. And I was just, as I was sitting, I was thinking like, I did that. I did that. And I knew I needed to do better. Then it came around to because my father has transitioned. My father is no longer with us. Like I say, my mother is the only one with us. And when my father was down to his last few months, he was staying in a facility because he was very, very sick. He had stayed with me, and the care got so needful that he needed to go to a facility. And it was hard watching him go through this, transition. But a few weeks had passed, and I had not been up to the facility. And he called me. He called me, and he called me with that daddy on his phone, get your ass up here. And I remember because he don't talk in that. It's not really aggressive, mean, but it was like, daddy is serious. Get to see me. Yes, sir. And I went the next day. I lost him a week later, but he knew. And he knew it wasn't personal, but he knew he had to be in his daddy form. You know what I'm saying? To be like, okay, this is serious, and I know life is life and I know you're doing something, but I need you to get up here now. And I did. Because I had already had that experience with my paternal grandmother, and I didn't want that to happen with him. So I don't know how many family members you all have that's still out there. The elders. Who's the elders? And what is that? The matriarch, the patriarch. Okay, people say, well, what is the matriarch and the patriarch? The matriarch and the patriarch, these are your pawpaws, your big mamas, your nanas, your grandmamas, your great grandmamas, your great granddaddies, these are the matriarchs. The matriarch is the oldest living woman, female, in your family living lineage right now. And normally you have paternal and maternal. Paternal and maternal. Paternal is your father's side. Maternal is your mother's side. So, when you think of matriarch, who is the oldest living woman, female lineage, on your mother and your father's side? Then you have your patriarch. This is the oldest living male lineage living on your mother or father's side. On my father's side, the eldest generation are in my father's generation now. So his parents' generations, they're no longer here. When it comes to my mother, her paternal patriarchs land with her cousins. No, yes. And I think there's a few male cousins alive. If not, I literally feel that goes up under my mother's generation to our generation would be the oldest living male lineage. We need to think about that. And with all of this technology, all of these platforms, all of these devices, we don't know how to take at least 30 minutes out of our day or week to say, let me connect with one of the elders in my family. If you do that, I love that. And I'm not speaking to you. But if you don't, I am speaking to you. Just doing this video makes me think of the very limited lineage of elders are still present in my family, especially my matriarch. My maternal. Because the matriarch is my mother. And maternally, the male lineage man, the elder goes even under my mother's generation. I think it's a few cousins, but I'm not sure. So I encourage you, call a family member and say hello. But I know when you think about the question we talked about, especially because this is stemmed around generational wisdom, which is connected to our family and home. And we all have some elders that's in our family. And even if it's limited numbers, low numbers, you still have the opportunity to connect with them. And we need to. The wisdom that they carry inside of them is important. Now, I thought about a positive symbol. And when we think about generational wisdom, and especially dealing with the family and the home, I feel the family tree is appropriate. I even encourage you all, have you all created a family tree? Now, while I have you here, I'm going to show you real quick the family book. Remember I told you I have the family book? And this book is available on Amazon. This is the family book. It's called Our Family Story. And then you see how the pages is. And so it could be used as an heirloom. It's Our Family Story. It's 120 pages. It's 120 pages. And it gives you the opportunity to be able to go to family members, to family events, and get all of your family members to go ahead and put their insert as the family member in there. And remember, this is passed on from generation to generation. This is an heirloom, okay? And it also gives you the opportunity to be able to share the information of the family member, especially the elders, because we know that they're closer to transition more than likely. You could share that with the family. I encourage that we connect. I so encourage. I spoke with my aunt recently, and we were speaking of this. And my aunt, she is an elder that I rely on, and I'm so thankful. I definitely have a close connection with her. But the thing is this, is that we understand within our family tree, we have to be knowledgeable of one another, especially the elders. So you got to be able to connect. And yes, just like the question asks, what is the best piece of advice an elder gave you? You're not going to get it if you don't talk to them. You're not going to get it if you don't listen to them. Like, we have to think about that. And that's why I feel like the symbol of the family tree is imperative. I even encourage everybody making a family tree. I showed you the family book. At several events that I've went to for family, we've actually done a family tree. It's been on different sides of the family, but my point is that there's so many ways that can be done. Because what happens is that as we get older and generations keep coming in and leaving out, we're not keeping the storyline going of telling the family about the family. That's why a lot of us don't have the advice of the elders, because we're not talking to them. And some of them ain't talking to us neither. We need to bridge the gap. You can start with a conversation starter piece by taking the family tree as your focal point and creating a guideline of questions that you can go around to your family members, starting with the elders and working your way down and creating the story of your family, so that everybody in the family can know the story of your family, so that you can be able to have advice that you listen to and it benefited you as you got older. I didn't see it then. I didn't. I'm thankful I see it now. And I pass it back. She looking at me. I know she see me. And I can hear her in my ear sometimes. I feel her in my heart always. And I know some of you all can resonate with what I'm saying, because you don't always have to say something. You don't always have to open your mouth. You don't always have to give a rebuttal. Somebody calls you out your name, just because that's their opinion, don't mean it's true. You debating this individual on an opinion is wasted energy and time. You don't even have to sit there and listen to this that this individual is saying. Who cares? Keep going. If you're in a circle and this individual just constantly wants to say things to trigger you, and you know it's a trigger, because guess what? Triggers are real. Why be in the circle? Move around. Change circles. You at a job setting, and an individual just keeps pulling your triggers. Maybe it's time to start looking at the triggers. Why do they have that power? Why are they meaningful? Their opinion. Sometimes we got to take what it is that's prompting us to say something or not listen. We need to look at those things to say, what do we need to work on within ourselves? And that's what I did. I'm thankful that the elders told me what they told me. And I know my grandmother and my grandparents see me. They see the work that I be putting in. They see the evolution that I'm constantly in. And they see me giving back by sharing my testimonies and my stories to society so that we can make this a better place. I know I'm just not thinking fairy tales, but I do believe it's possible to see peace and harmony on earth. I don't think it's far-fetched, but I am grateful and thankful for the elders that have given me the great advice over the years. And so I guess that would be part of my tea. I'm thankful for my ancestors and my passed on loved ones and the elders giving me the good advice. The experience that I had the chance to be able to receive the messages that the elders gave me to let me know. You might not understand it now, but later on in life, and I may be gone, you're going to get it. And I'm thankful. And my accomplishment, that I'm able to still be standing here today through all my challenges and obstacles. I've survived 100% of my challenges. And I know a lot of it plays part to what I listened to, what was told to me. I know I have sat here and taken up some more of y'all time. And I'm just so grateful that you guys joined me. I don't know who this message is meant for. If it's not meant for you, pass it on. Take what you receive, leave what you don't. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. It is greatly appreciated. I'm going to get myself up out of here until we meet again. And I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. I do this because of you, and I want you to keep showing up so I can do this for us. I want you to have an amazing day. Continue to be great and be safe. This is the Godmother sending much love to you all. Have an amazing day.